All right, guys, we've got a manufacturer that just came in. They've been around for about 60 years. They just got a new CEO. He's really looking at focusing on digital solutions that can drive leads into his sales team. One of the things that's most important is search optimization. They're ranking really bad across the board, except for terms that have to do with their company name. So we've really got to get in there and come up with some tactics of how do we get them ranking in the search engines and driving some leads into their sales team. So I know that we did an audit, I think, Derek. How did that audit turn out?
No, it's good. Lots of low-hanging fruit, so that's going to be really nice. Especially with SEO campaign, we're going to want to get a nice base to start running off things for. As you can see from some of these reports, there's not much going on. We got very few inbound links going on. Not much is indexed out there. There's really no site hierarchy to the website. Coding's a bit outdated, not really getting him what he's looking for. Good thing is that the competitors aren't really doing much at all, so I think it looks like we can gain a lot of ground pretty quickly for this guy, but just kind of want to make sure everybody understands where we are.
Yeah, if the competitors aren't doing much, it's easy for us to just jump in there and start taking some tactics in and making this happen.
One thing I see here, just kind of looking at the numbers, looks like 12% of the traffic comes through from mobile,
good.
Which is pretty high for manufacturers, but they don't have a mobile site, so that's definitely a good place to start.
Yeah, now mobile is so important with search engines browsing those mobile sites and indexing them that we've really got to make sure we're building a mobile site for them.
For sure.
What about pay-per-click? Have they done anything with that?
You know, it looks like there's a couple lingering campaigns that might have been set up in the past. They're actually getting a decent amount of clicks, but they're going to a trapdoor. So that's where we should really start, is thinking about landing pages and ways that we can leverage that traffic.
I don't think they're looking to do a full website redesign at this point, and if we're going to do anything, we have to drive it to something that looks good, so this is a great first step.
One thing that I would say is I think we should focus on their verticals. So they've got a bunch of different industries. I think there's 8 of them, like sugar, mining, gas. And if we create landing pages that focus specifically on those industries, that's a perfect way to start.
Who are we targeting? What's their audience that they're really trying to connect with?
For the most part, it's engineers that are searching for this stuff. You're going to run into some C-level people here and there, but
maintenance teams
as well.
So when we build these landing pages for verticals, we should really think about what are the important pieces of information for those people. And then as we're developing content in the future, really looking at some of those pains that we can include on these landing pages.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the other landing page set that I do is probably services pages. Do they have a good list of services that are available?
I mean, essentially right now it's a bullet point list. There's no explanation as to how they work together, kind of what the value is for them over anybody else.
Overall, there's really no content for their specific services on their website. Being able to tie some good content, some downloads, just good valuable information that can support their sales team. So we can help with SEO there, but also with quality score for PPC. They're probably paying way more than they need to, so I think if we can spend a little time there as well, we can save them money and set a good foundation.
Yeah, that'll really help us test out the right keywords and what's going to convert. Maybe the other low-hanging fruit is looking at that site optimization. We were talking about the code and title tags, I think you mentioned. You know, what can we do there?
Yeah, I mean, just look at it. It looks like it's loading pretty slow. So looking, they have a lot of images on their site. Not very small file sizes, so being able to compress those down just help overall site speed as well.
Yeah, I noticed there's a couple videos on some of the products and services pages, but they're embedded using Flash. So it's native on the site. It's taking bandwidth up, which is going to make the site a little bit slower. We should really look at putting that on YouTube or Vimeo so that we can get some social leverage on there and just embed directly on the site.
We should get title tags going too. Any content that they currently have, let's optimize it, make sure the keywords are at the front of the title and that we're getting the right ones in there for all pages that they currently have. And then for those landing pages, obviously making sure we really optimize those title tags as well.
Yeah, I mean, and to that, they have pictures everywhere of their products and stuff, no alt tags on anything, so it's just blank space sitting there.
Yeah, that's so important for search optimization today, that if your site's not loading fast, Google is throwing you down at the bottom.
Yeah, especially if they're getting 12% of traffic on a mobile phone. They're on 3G or they're on Wi-Fi, so we really need to be thinking about what we can do to make their life easier on the road. What do we know about their team structure? Are they creating content, or do they need help with actually having us write content and kind of coach through the process?
They got nothing. Blank slate. Yeah, so we can pretty much hit the ground running. Yeah, they have a big sales force that's out on the road pretty much every day, so I'm assuming they've heard pretty much every pain and issue that somebody's had. So especially being around 60 years, I'm assuming they've dealt with pretty much every type of client you can. They don't have a ton of great leave behind material. It's very wordy. Everything I've read is just page after page after page of content. So I'd like to get another survey or at least speak with a few of those guys just to kind of understand what their audience is looking for.
Sure.
So I think the next big strategy we really have to look at is creating some great content.
You know, one of the first things I think that we can really leverage is using our awesome design skills to do some infographic work, which can be shared through LinkedIn, on other social networks, and even get some leverage from different trade organizations and in the magazines a little bit.
It'd be great to do that for a specific vertical, grab a couple of their verticals, find out some good data, how they integrate into it, and create that infographic around it so that it's really interesting for their target audience.
Right. You know, you keep talking about the sales guys, and I think one thing that can really make their life a little bit easier is if we can leverage their past connections and do some case studies and testimonials.
Exactly.
There's
You know,
tons.
that's what an engineer really wants to see is, you know, if you've solved something for a company like me in the past, how can you help me?
Be able to identify some things that they need to kind of help their sales process.
Sure.
Plus, you have people who've been doing it for 10, 20 years. They have all the value.
That's a great point. You know, working with engineers, that kind of social proof is something that really makes a big difference if they're going to pick up the phone or if they're going to go to the next vendor.
Yep.
And I think
I
when
like
meeting
that.
with the engineers, meeting with some of their potential customers, really diving into the research of their industry, we could focus on maybe some sort of technology tool, something that we could build for them to help increase leads.
Maybe we could even take those case studies we talked about
Yeah.
and to create some really interesting content, change it to a video series where we can interview their customers as well as their engineers, and they can talk about the problems and solutions that they solve.
And we can use it on landing pages to really show the kind of expertise in the service. We can even use it in our automation campaigns.
Any sort of high-level factory video we could do to just show these guys kind of what they're using and you know, they're really invested in everything they're doing. So
And
I
video
hear
is
it all
such
day.
shareable content.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's the stuff that really gets those shares going. And then if we put it on YouTube, which is the second largest search engine that is out there,
Yeah.
I think we can keyword optimize all
Right.
of those videos, get some transcription services in there, and that'll really boost up their rankings a lot. So we're creating this great content. Now what do? I think we've talked a little bit about distribution, but I think to round this all out, we've really got to come up with some good strategies of how we're going to get that information out there.
The only other thing I noticed is there's no social sharing on the site. I know
Okay.
for manufacturers it's not a huge thing, going to be tweeting stuff out and everything, but obviously for SEO, giving that social sharing capability on the site is going to be really important.
And I think with the sharing, we talked about integrating into their site, but there's some neat tools out there that when they're doing video and other things like that, we can have the sharing tools embedded right in it,
Yeah.
so that when they're done watching the video or when they're done reading the article, that something will pop up and ask to share, and
Yeah.
that's just key to making sure we're getting that search value. For
Right.
Sure.
I don't think social media, all of them are going to work for them, but definitely kind of identifying LinkedIn groups we could do. I'm sure we could start some up that we can get some discussions rolling there.
Sure.
Also, there's a lot of industry-specific forums, websites for just kind of experts in that area to talk.
Yeah.
So really trying to get a presence there. They also offer some networking ads that we could put on the site. So
Okay.
maybe coming up with a nice library of graphic images, banners, things like that, we can just have ready to go if they see something they want to go with. So.
Awesome.
You know, that's a great way that I think we can leverage other industry connections,
Yeah.
like trade magazines and using their social media networks to build our list and share our insight.
Newsletter. They don't really have one. Their list is pretty small. I think even with customers, they've only gathered about 500 names.
Yeah.
So I think we've got to build that list with the content that we have and really get a newsletter together. So when we're creating this great content, we have an instant audience that we can send it out to.
Yeah, and there's an expo, it seems like every other month for this. So, I mean, I think first we need to just sign them up for as many as we can, get this content out there.
We found that these expos, they're looking for cool content to
Right,
have.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm sure we can create some good, solid relationships.
Right.
Get our PR team calling on some of these conferences and seeing how we can get integrated,
That's a great
get some of
point.
that content out there, especially things like infographics that could be valuable to the industry.
Oh, yeah,
And
for
that's
sure.
going to get us a lot of inbound links, a lot of visibility, even outside search optimization.
Absolutely. And you know, one thing that I've seen at these different expos is companies that have a speaker or somebody presenting always tend to get an influx of people at their booth afterwards. It'd be a great thing for our team to try to set up some connections for speaking opportunities or other
I agree.
presentations.
So I think we've got some good strategies. Now it's time to go and get some of this stuff implemented.
Probably
All right.
talking in a week or so.
Let's crush these guys.
Cool.
All right.
Sounds good.